In our previous video, we introduced Microsoft Powerapps extensively, and we spoke about how you become software developer overnight, Powerapps developer overnight. In this video, and in that video, we created our very first application. So in this video, we will be advancing that same application and making some modifications and some enhancement. Here, if you look at the application we created, in the first video, in case you missed that video, the link is right down here. So if you follow that same process and you end up where I am presently, you have been able to create your very first application. And let me just run the application again, and here we'll be making some tweaks and some adjustments to this particular application, because in the actual sense, in the real life or in enterprise applications, or even in any application you build, you don't leave application this way. There are a number of things that are quite not although the application works quite well, but you agree with me that there are certain things that need to be put in place, especially for the UI UX part of it. So if I click run here and I run this application, these are the records we created during the last video. So here is the plus readily generated for us by the application. The age, let's say 32, city, Ottawa or hour, country, Canada, first name, Bright, George, phone number +1, blah 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 blah, and we click on save. Yes, although you see a progress running around here, progress signs to show that the process is being done. And if you do look at our record here, you see that, yeah, the record, we initially had 3 records and now we have 4 records. In real life applications, you expect that when an action is being done, a user should get the feedback. So in this application, that is one thing. In this application, we are not getting feedback. There was no feedback to customer or to the user to say this record is successfully saved or it failed saving or something, although we did see the sign that it's actually been saved. But this is not the best approach in the actual sense. Anyways, the application was quickly developed by Powerapps itself in a very fast way. However, Powerapps give you the freedom to tweak your application whichever way you want it. So we'll be doing that in a bit. So let's look at the layout generally of this application and the formatting and everything. So as we discussed earlier, these are the pages of the application. These are the pages, or what we call forms. So if you look at these forms, they have generic names, screens. They have generic name. So in this course, we'll be making use of screen as representing pages or forms in other programming languages. So for Powerapps, it is called screen. So you see that these screen are carrying generic names, which is not a very good practice in development generally to use this kind of names, although it actually gives the purpose: browse screen 1, detail screen, edit screen. That is actually not too bad, but we are going to be changing that. And if you look at this layout at the same time, it looks quite too dry. So we'll be exploring the properties of each of the objects that make this application to give it some facelift. I'm not so good in designs, but I will show you how you can effect changes, change fonts, change colors, and what have you here. And also the title bar here, how we can enhance that. So let's get back to the screen. So here's the screen. Let's say you could just double click to rename, or you have the ellipses here and rename. So let's say customers list. So this is not case sensitive. You don't need to bother yourself about what you name this, but sometimes it is good to use SCR to represent screen. You can actually formulate your own pattern of your own naming convention. There are no rules here as per how you name it, but special characters might be frowned at. So let's say for all our screens we start it with SCR, customer list. It could be it's not case sensitive, so you can be free about doing that. Here you say this is customer list. Let's name this as SCR detail. Let's say customer detail. Right, I leave that U like that for you to know that it's actually, it doesn't bite. Edit screen. Let's say SCR modify customer. That's it. However, the good thing, right, this might not happen in your this will not happen in all the cases. You see that we have changed the screen names. Let's run the application and see if anything will break. Okay, let's go back to the beginning. This is our beginning, and let's run plus. Okay, let's not add a new record. Let's just let's just refresh. Okay, let's say we want to edit by clicking on any of it. You see that we are still able to go back to this screen despite the fact that we have changed the name of the screen. Let's do edit. We are back. We are in edit right now. That is one very good thing about Powerapps. When an object name is changed, Powerapps automatically updates that around where the names are used. So let's make our application make more sense. So this is sheet 1, this is called sheet 1, sheet 1, sheet 1 everywhere. So let's click on this. So when you click on this, these are the properties on the right. It's a label. So you have different controls here. You have the input controls, you have display controls, you have layout controls, and a host of them right there for you. So we'll be exploring also each of these things and their powers and their powers and their properties essentially. So here we have by just clicking on it, it automatically gives you the properties right here, and it also gives you some of the properties and methods that you can apply on them on the control right here. So let's go to sheet. It is given us several ways to modify. So you can modify here and call this customers list, right? And as well, you could as well change it from the text property here. So for the label, it has the text property, it has align, auto align, color, blah 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 blah, fill. So okay, let's just play around that in a bit. Let's just play around that a bit. So this is the color for it. You could change this to, let's say, 200 and click elsewhere. I think that doesn't really have effect on that. Let's say 10. See, all right, you can see that it has turned yellow. So if you are good about all these colors, but I don't recommend that actually, because there are easier ways to doing that. However, if you have, maybe you work for an organization or you are developing a solution for a corporate body that have color branding and all that. So you will definitely need these specifications because those would have to be dictated. So here, right here, we've got yellow here. So let's do it the easy way. Let's do it the easy way. So when you pick on the item, just look out for the properties. Because Powerapps is always running online, you might have some snag. Some slack in the time. It might drag a bit, but just wait for it. Just wait for the properties. Then we could go to color. So you are going to get familiarized with all of these properties. They are actually easy to know. One very good thing about Powerapps is it's from Microsoft, and Microsoft tries as much as possible to make their applications similar in layout and in the nomenclature. So you are going to just get used to it very quickly. So let's say we just want to make this guy red. Yeah, we're not going to be working on making it look real or making it look reasonable here. The idea is just to give you what works and how it works. So on your own you could. So then we could as well have the fill. Let's change the fill. Let's change the fill. So this is the fill. What colors go well on red, on that red? Well, let's just do this. That's the idea. So now it makes sense when we run this and we find customer list here, and let's also add something. Let's add something. Where can we put that? Okay, let's put this down a little bit. Let's pull this down a little bit, and let's go for a label control, text label here, right under here. Let's say, yeah, this is actually looking too big already, so we can come to the font and say 13, and that's it. The text, let's put an asterisk and say click on customer to modify, and we could make that your favorite color. Okay, not favorite color, it's actually good to follow convention. So for information, I think information is generally blue for information, but if you can decide, you can actually decide. So I think that's look fair. We are coming back to this page actually. Okay, so we've got that customer detail. So let's rename this as well, customer detail, and let's make it so here you can change size as well. You can put it back for uniformity. And what else? So you have a whole lot of stuff here. Normal, font weight, bold, semi-bold, lighter, font style, italicize, underline, over strike through, then all these alignments, hidden, blah 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 blah. We are going to get into all those properties. So we can as well change these, let's say deep blue. Cool. And here, let's see if this guy is telling us anything. Okay, delete this item, edit this item. Right, let me just quickly show you how those gets there. So if you pick on an item to check its properties and you go to tooltip, so you could put anything you want there, delete this item, and we'll say items are deleted. Right, let's say click me and I D forever. Yeah, so edit customer record. Never forget, shit happens. So let's keep saving. Right, that's done. I'm not publishing just yet. So modify. Right, so I think modify is quite clear. Let's say update and save. Right, and let's go for one more thing. So if you run our application now, you see that this is customer list, and when you click on this, update and save. No, this is not update and save. This is create new record. Let's say create new record. Right. Yeah, create new record. Let's go back. Click on customer to modify. Right. So we are back here, and if you hover on this, delete this item and edit customer record. Okay, I thought we changed this the other time, so let's break the code here and go back to here. What happened? Let's say delete me forever. Right, and we save and edit customer record, delete me forever. You can go back and all that. Yes, so we've played around a bit on the properties. Now in a real life scenario, you never would go into any application this way, where at the launch you are seeing record immediately, or as you run you have this page immediately. You would always have an authentication page, which this application we are running right now lacks. So we are going to be creating a kind of reality into this. So the good thing is Powerapps seems to have done about 50% of the job for us right here, or even 70%, depends on what you are targeting. So we just need to enhance and make it real in the real life. So here we're going to be putting like a login page, although it's not going to be authenticated in real life. I'm trying not to get this video into a movie, so we're just going to create a sheet that will simulate what a login page will look like. But in another video we'll be looking extensively into how the authentication works in Powerapps, because you can actually build your own authentication algorithm, or you can leverage on Microsoft single sign-on authentication or authorization of all the applications that you build. So for instance, if we publish this application now and anyone will be launching this application, maybe you are launching it from your side, I share it with you, and you are launching it from your own side, your application this application will always start from the very first screen on your application here. So but in the development environment, whichever one that is active, whichever screen that is active is what I am running. So it makes it easy for me to edit, it makes it easy for modification. But when the application has been published and you have a copy of the link to run, it will always default to this screen, first screen. However, you can move this around. Okay, we'll demonstrate that in a bit. So let's create a new screen. We want a blank screen, and let's do some, let's pick a rectangle. Kind of, so let's print a label, say login. Let's make that 27 and white, and let's centralize it. This is centralized. Login, let's say page. That's another way to edit. And let's copy, no, well, let's pick the rectangle, Ctrl C, Ctrl V. It works as well here. And let's do something like this, and let's change the color of that to something light. And what do we call our application's name? Let's get another text label and call it customer portfolio apps, whatever that means. Right, no, let's say customer portfolio app. Give your app a reasonable name, not the way I've just done. Right, okay, let's give it some border. Have we got border here? So we've got border, let's say 2. Fine. So let's say we've got a logo, and okay, this might be giving me some headache. So I could select, hold Control down, select the select the text. Well, we don't need this guy to be this long anyways. So kind of centralized, then hold Control key down, select rectangle and group. So they move together, and let's get buttons. Button. Let's call these. Let's call it login, and let's put a dummy text input or a text box. Put that here. I think this needs to be kind of bigger. Text input, let's put nothing there, and the format is mode password, so that it doesn't display the characters as you're typing it. Okay, what else can we put here? Oh gosh, make sure the group is selected. Yeah, the group is selected. Okay, it's right behind, so you could reorder, bring to front. That's it. Then let's stretch this a bit. Okay, then let's give our app a logo image. Have it there, and from the image you can pick image, well, anything. insert. So we've got image, and yes, we've got this. Well, it's, yeah, definitely looking like a login page. It might not exactly be what you want to do, but you get the concept right here. So let's make sure this is centralized, and we have this glyph helping us to know when we are centralized. I think this kind of looks more realistic, you know. It's getting more realistic rather. So the screen, let's say SCR login. Remember, it doesn't matter how you name it, but good programming convention is that you give names that are easier for you to remember later, and for the benefit of other programmers that will be working on this. Right, so let's move our login page up. Move up, move up, move up. So we have our login page right here. So let's save and let's run. Yeah, looks kind of cool, right? Yeah, so let's type our password, login. Nothing happens. Even if I do click a million times, nothing happens. Not because my password is wrong or anything. In the actual sense, no password is set for it. So we need, what we actually need to do right here is, when the login button is clicked, we need to validate the password. But we are not going to be doing that in this video. In subsequent videos, we'll be looking at doing that. But what we want to do right here is to do something, or let's even quickly do something, right? This is a button. So button also has its own set of properties, just like every other control that you see in Powerapps. The label, the image. Ooh, sorry about that. That's my violin. So you have different properties depending on the control and depending on what they do essentially. So for login, the action when you click is on select. So what do you want to happen when this button is clicked? So what we want to happen is we want the application to go straight right into customer list, this page right here. So what we'll do is we are going to use a command called navigate. So just, this is the onSelect equals the function. So right here is where you type the behavior of this button when it is clicked or when it is on select. And as well, you could pull this down here to have your space. So let's say for here, we want to navigate to where it's already giving you the IntelliSense. We want to navigate to customer list, and there's an optional property again here. What kind of transition do you want to give when the page is, when your screen is transitioning? Let's say on cover right, and always remember to close your brackets. Right, so let's do that. Save and run and login. Right, let's go back to the login and say, let's change that transition. Let's change it to fade. Try and pay attention to that. You see, okay, so then let me clear this and I log in. Irrespective of what I type in the box, it still comes here because that text box is not being validated. That password is not being validated. We will be doing that in another video. Thank you for watching this far. Thank you for stopping by. If you find this content useful, please do subscribe and like, and you can as well post your comments, queries and questions, and even suggestions for better production and for you to be notified when new videos are released.